So to start making these quilted pouches or pencil cases, you need to make your quilt panel. So I make 2 quilt panels, one for each side of the pouch. So I have my inner fabric or the interior fabric, then I have some batting or foam. So today I'm using some Soft and Stable from ByAnnie, and then I'm putting the fabric on top. So but this I'm actually making the fabric. I'm just doing I'm using some jelly roll strips that I found and quilting them directly onto the foam. You could also use some scrap fabric panels that I've made before, and I'll link to the pattern, not to the pattern, I'll link to the tutorial on how I do that in the description below. But I decided to use these jelly roll strips because I'd made heaps of pencil cases at this point and I needed a break. So I'm just cutting them to shape, turning it around. It's kind of like a log cabin style thing. You just do one side, turn it, one side, turn it, and you just keep going until you've filled up your piece of or your panel. So you can make these pencil cases any shape if you want, or any size you want. The kids really love the rectangular shape of these, and they like them really large. So my panels that I'm starting out with, the foam has been cut to approximately 12 inches by 13 inches. I didn't actually measure, I just kind of eyeballed it and cut them to what they look, I think was the right size. So then once I've quilted all the panels, I then flip it over and I cut all the threads off on the inside because I don't have an automatic thread cutter on my sewing machine, so I just save that for the end. But once it's all nice and neat and tidy, I'm going to trim it to shape. So I find the easiest thing to do is to trim down one side to get and get a nice straight edge. You can of course do this on a cutting mat, but I'm working at the kitchen table here, not that much room, so I'm just eyeball it, or I use the marker and I trim from there. I'm trying to measure it up to match the book that I'm using, which is the one there with the monkey cover. I want to make sure that the kids can slip that in easily and that it's definitely big enough for that. So I'll just keep doing it, trimming it until it's to size. And the second panel, I just use the first trimmed panel as a template and just trim all the way around that. And then you need to decide which is the front panel and which is the back panel, and you need to flip them upside down or whichever way. And then what you're going to do is you're going to find the back panel, and on the interior of that back panel, which is that blue panel for me, I'm just going to add a pocket. Now the pocket is just something really simply that I whipped up. There's no interfacing or stabilizing or anything in that pocket. It's just a square or a rectangle just sewn together and quilted, and those quilting lines has actually given that fabric some stability. And then I just simply sew it straight onto the panel. And then of course we're onto the zip. And I use a really long zip. It's so easy if you use a long zip. It just makes life so much easier if you just have a really long zip, and then you don't have to worry about the zipper ends and stuff like that. So I don't even use a zipper foot on my sewing machine. As you just saw, I just moved the needle over, and then I just run my normal foot down. It just saves me a step, and I like as easy as possible, and it works fine. And I think one of the reasons why it works fine is because I have got the extra long zip on it. And then what I do is then you add the second panel, which is the front panel in this case, and you just need to make sure it's lined up with that first panel. So you just flip it over and you just line it up with the edge of the back panel, so it's all nice and even, because that's the key point. You want that zipper to be even. And then you do the same process and you sew that one straight on as well. And if you like binding, you can actually finish this zipper edge off and the raw edge off with some binding, but I find it's not needed with these pouches. What I do is I use a zigzag stitch. It works just as easy, and it doesn't actually come undone, and it doesn't fray. So what I do is I open up the 2 panels there, and I flatten the zip out, and then I just zigzag down and pressing it as I go, and so that actually squishes it so it's nice and flat, finishes off the raw edge, and it's ready to go to the next step. And as you can see here, you can see how much it squishes it down, and it looks good on both sides, and there's no threads hanging about. So you need to do that for both sides of the zip. Then you need to open up your panel, lay it flat, open up the zip, gently push those zipper teeth together, and you're going to make a little zipper tab ending there just by stitching backwards and forwards. And then we can trim off that excess zip on that side, and because you've done that little backwards and forwards with the sewing machine, you can't accidentally then just have the zipper tab come off. And then we're just going to sew the seams closed now. So just very simply fold it so the inside facing you, so you've got the exteriors together, and you're just going to stitch all the way around. I find it I just go over the zip. It's quite easy. Just go straight down and around. You don't have to worry about leaving an opening because the opening is the open zip. And so then you're ready to trim off all those edges. I then just go off and I trim off that extra zipper tab on the other side, any extra overhanging threads and foam and extra fabric. Now you can actually mark your corners, but I just cut them with the scissors. I find it, because I've got such big scissors and it's such a big project, it's easy just to get that curve. But then you do need to go back with your sewing machine, of course, and you need to stitch that seam closed so nothing falls out the bottom of your rounded curved corners. Once all those seams are now closed, it's time to finish them. I finish with a zigzag stitch. I find that works really well for the style of pencil case that it is. You might like to do binding to finish this step, but honestly the kids don't care. And it works perfectly well because you've caught all the threads when you've done that zigzag. And then you're up to the best part. You're finished. You're turning your pouch inside out to look at how awesome it is. I absolutely love making these. With the foam, it just has a little bit more bounciness to it than with the wadding. And you can actually grab the iron and then just press those seams flat. But what I find, if I just run my thumb around that zigzag seam on the inside, it finishes it really, really well. So we've been giving these out as gifts. So every time my kids go to a birthday party, we fill these pouches with pencils and pens and a big pad and all these sorts of stuff. And the kids have absolutely adored receiving these. I don't think kids receive much nowadays in the way of homemade stuff. And every single kid has they've just been so grateful for it. I had one kid get on his hands and knees and was like worshipping my daughter, like, this is the best gift ever. And I had another kid come up to me afterwards at school and he's like, thank you so much for the pencil case that you knitted me. And like, seriously, it was so sweet that he thought that I knitted it. So I didn't correct him because, you know what, I made it. I didn't want to put him in his place. It's like, no, he was just so grateful. It was just so cute. And so this is just some of the pencil cases that I've been making because I had to restock because I ran out. I just had so much fun doing just using the jelly roll strips, and now these ones just made with scrap fabrics. I just love every single one of them. I don't have a favourite. I think they all look awesome. And now I'm just showing the difference between one made from wadding and one made from the like the soft and stable foam. There's not much difference. So the one at the back with the blue interior and the blue zip is made with ByAnnie Soft and Stable, and the one in the front, the scrap fabric one with the red zip or the orange zip, that's made with just batting left over from a quilt. So there's not that much different. Just a little bit bounceability. The foam folds back. Opens up again once you've folded it, but how many times are you going to fold a pencil case? So just use what you've got. Don't be limited by thinking, oh, I don't have any batting or I don't have any foam. You can use whatever you like. They both all turn out really well.